Yeah, he said some really rude things about
Yeah.
users, and basically they just harvest people's data and try to make money out of that. So I have no interest in all kinds of different sites. I'm trying to think of Twitter and Dentica as ways of corresponding with people in the sense that you publish something and quite a few people, the same interest groups, basically make use of your content, make use of your links and stuff like that. But the other thing is I'm not sure if you've followed what's been happening in terms of open source in this project, which was funded by donations. But it's not exactly open source. It's all kinds of small scandals recently.
Well, I mean, the only sort of scandal that I've been following up on really was the a lot of security weaknesses that's been mentioned in the Ars Technica article, and I was looking at that as it's to be expected. Obviously, it's an early beta, and they're only slowly allowing more
Yeah,
users to come on.
it's also a private one in some sense, which there isn't exactly open source, and there is the issue of copyright assignment. So when people write for it, they have to give away their work to the company. That makes and the company itself is funded by the very same people who are supposed to be early users. So it's kind of a tricky situation.
Gordon, do you have any comments on this?
Got a few things. First of all, this is a Queen show. I must apologise for a few episodes. I've been the one that's been swearing the odd time, so I do apologise. So, right, on to the serious thing. I think social networking is a thing about now. It's like people have been getting used to Facebook, MySpace, Bebo, whatever, Twitter, Identica. People invariably like sharing what they're doing in life. In most cases, it's mundane, it's rubbish, it's like, oh, I'm going to the shops now, we don't care. You know, I mean, I've dented some really bizarre things, just things that came to me. I've just thought, I'll just throw a joke out there, and you know. So a lot of it is just fluff, it's nothing. But people have got used to that. People have got used to standing at the bus station, thinking the bus is late, and they'll actually dent the bus is late. But who cares? But people have got used to that. So whether it's closed or open, whether it's Facebook, and a lot of the people, they go towards wherever the celebrities are. It's like a way to get in touch with, the way to get close to celebrities. I mean, when Barack Obama said, when he did Twitter, how many followers does he have on Twitter? But yet, how many would he actually respond to if you actually tweeted, a question to him? For the record, I use Identica.
He probably doesn't use that. He has PR agents doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I use Identica, which happens to cross-post to Twitter. So if people speak to me, you're better joining Identica. To catch me, you're better going Identica. And I think Tim and Roy are the same. Yeah. But for me, yeah, certainly, you're better going Identica, even although it posts to Twitter. So, I mean, even if you ask Barack Obama a question, this guy is the president of the United States of America. What chance has he got, even if it's in his control, even if it's his little Twitter client sitting open on his desktop in the White House? What chances has he got of saying, "Oh, right, I'll just respond to this person"? It's not going to happen.
So it happens with Palmer. I had some of them do, but not the president though.
Yeah, I mean, all of these people, they see it as a one-way stream, and they'll always go with whatever's popular. Twitter happens to be I mean, Twitter's different. Twitter and Identica is different from Diaspora, or different from Facebook, or different from MySpace, a different concept, but they'll still use it as a one-way stream to talk to you. They don't want to talk with you. They don't care what you want. All they want is the numbers following them so that they can pass their message on to you. So, I mean, the fact that social networking is the norm, is what people want to do now, the fact that there's an open source version called Diaspora, I think that's all to the good. It doesn't interest me in the slightest. I have no intention of joining it, just as I have no intention of joining Facebook or MySpace or anything like that. But for a lot of people, that is what they want to do, and at least it gives them an open source version, because at the moment, there's people who want to tweet, they want to throw out quick ideas, which is great. I love doing that myself. I want to do that in an open source way. I've got Identica, now called StatusNet. I've got that for that. So at least Diaspora gives that same concept in an open source way for the free and open source people who want to nail their flags to the mast.
Right. Moving on to the next title I've got here. This is hopefully a rather quick one. There's not a lot to really be said. It's just a point of interest. Maybe Gordon might have a few views as well on this one. It's in regards to Mulv, and it's probably another name I'm pronouncing wrong. I've said two wrong today, so this will be my third one. And this was an article that's been written on Torrent Freak, and it's about a music, not file sharing, but it's a music downloading application. It carried no copyrighted music itself, but allowed users to connect to a Russian social networking site and download copyrighted material, or indeed any material, not necessarily copyrighted. Now, the reason why I bring this story up, there was a bit of a scandal about it. The package itself didn't infringe on any copyrights. However, there was an arrest of an individual who was connected to this application, who's later now, it's just been reported on Torrent Freak, to have been released without charge. And it transpires was the person who merely paid for and set up the domain name for the package itself. So that's on Torrent Freak. It's worthwhile having a look at, and it's a very interesting question as to where responsibility lies for copyright infringement. My view was at the time, if Mulv is to be held responsible for people using it to download copyrighted material, then why isn't Google being attacked for exactly the same reason? Because a quick Google search of a piece of material that's got a copyright attached to it can find you probably 100, 200 torrent links very, very easily.
Google is the sort of the professional prostitute. That's the good company. It gives you snoops, it keeps logs and things. It's friendly to the government. It's got lobbyists and everything. And even though it's doing the exact same things lots of people do around the area, it's Google. It's respectable. It's got people in suits. So it's really hard to criminalize that. It's in the news. It actually reminds me, and that's kind of going off topic, is lots of the bankers do pretty much exactly what Bernard Madoff was doing for many years, but because they work for big firms and it's close to the government, which they fund the elections to an extent, they will kind of get off with that. Maybe they haven't done things as serious as he did, but he's kind of the small kind of scapegoat for the SEC to go after, but they could go after all the bankers. I'm not saying he's innocent. He's a disgusting person. But lots of them are doing the exact same thing. What do they get? They get a bailout when they cannot pay the scheme.
But the question to me was probably Google was a bad example, being so huge. But the level of responsibility for the developer of this type of software, if Mulv was to be held responsible for this copyright infringement of its users, or potential copyright infringement of its users, why are we not seeing the developers for uTorrent, for Vooz, I hope I'm pronouncing that one right, or Transmission, why aren't they being targeted the same way? To my knowledge, I think people use BitTorrent clients to download copyrighted material as well, so why aren't those packages being targeted as well?
Well,
it seems like... Sorry.
Someone. It's kind of a silly way of, none of your behalf. In general, people trying to describe the tool as the cause of the crime. It's kind of like saying, well, if you have some knives in your kitchen, it's probably not because you want to chop some carrots. It's probably when you want to kill someone. That's you could do. It's unreasonable. You could do that. But to try and ban the tools, it's
exactly. But that was my question. If Mulv is going to get targeted, then why hasn't Transmission been targeted? Why hasn't And it seems
even if the person infringe copyrights, we have to protect the person for the impact and the aftermath this may cause and the implications. The same reason we have to protect Wikileaks, even if we don't agree with their sloppy, perhaps. They are said not to hide a sufficient number of names and kind of put in risk some people, and some people will denounce them for it. But at the same time, if they manage